StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Falcon Paladin.
Hello, Sir Somicron. Thank you for the welcome to the podcast. Hope
Always.
everything is going well in Australiaville.
It's cold, it's wet
Mm-hmm.
today, it's been raining. It's gonna rain more tomorrow.
Yeah, you're wearing a jacket. Looks very chilly in there.
This room's actually quite nice because I've been playing
Oh.
video games and my PC puts out about 40 degrees of heat, and so it's a small
Right.
room, and it warms up. The PC warms the room up. It's
Yeah.
quite nice in winter.
I feel like we had a conversation a few years ago where I tried explaining that phenomenon to you, and you were like, no way. There's no way a gaming PC could make any noticeable increase in heat in your room in the wintertime. You're making things up. You're just imagining it. Do you remember this conversation at all?
I remember having a conversation, but I think my point might have been specific to the room I was in at the time, which was much bigger than this one.
Right, but I was talking about my room, and you were like, your room can't do that because my room doesn't do that. And I was like, experiences are not universal, Somicron. But I don't think we ever reached a consensus on that.
No, because I feel like I remember this conversation moderately well, and I believe it'll happen, right? Obviously.
Okay.
But I no idea why I wouldn't have thought it would happen for you. Is your room significantly bigger than the one that looks like you're in?
No, it is not.
Is it
It is small, and it's definitely hotter in here if I have the door shut and the gaming PC is running.
Yeah, your PC is also like heat inefficient. It pumps out heat out of the thing rather than water cooling, which is nicer. Pumps out my computer pumps out less heat than yours does. So it doesn't,
That's a good point. So it should even be more effective in this room than in your room.
in your room, yeah. Your PC, yeah.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Good. All right. Glad we're on the same page. Ultra says I'm way louder than you on stream.
I can turn you down. Look, I'm gonna turn you down. You're already at 90%. Now you're at 77. Cool.
Excellent.
That should be
very
better.
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I could just move my mic a little bit closer to my mouth, I guess. I like to whisper and mumble. So.
Uh-huh. That's true.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a mumbly person.
Mm-hmm. All right. So happy podcast day. Hope everyone's doing all right. Just did some more Expedition 33, 33, as they call it in France. How far are you?
I've just gotten Minoko.
Excellent. He's great. I like him.
I discovered. So there's these things on like every map, and when you were playing them, you were like, I swear I should be able to break these, and they look like little horns or rock growths with like blue crystals in them.
Yes.
I know how to break those.
You have to use Monaco?
No.
Oh, how do you do it?
So if you've been exploring the map, you've been able to find lost gestrels. If you find about 5 of them, you unlock that ability.
Ah, okay. I figured. I knew there was an ability somewhere that would let you destroy those, but I hadn't found it yet.
Yeah, so it immediately makes me want to go back and re-explore every map I've already done twice. Just to find all the
Just to find gestrels hiding in the bushes.
No.
Yeah, right?
Not to find the gestrels hiding. I've already found enough. I have the ability. It makes me want to go back and break all the rocks.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of them are in caves, and some of them are just, like, really hard to find. That's annoying.
Some of them just out on the world map. Some of them are in zones. It'll be going back and redoing basically everything.
Yeah. Fun. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
Anyway, good to know. Thank you. Yeah. It's interesting with the Gestrels, too, because it's like the first time you meet them, they're like, we get resurrected and the Miracle River thing, right?
Sacred River.
Yeah, but then later they're like, but also they come back different. Like, it's not the same person not the same friend that you lost. It's them, but mostly not them. And it's like, ooh, I don't know if that counts then.
Yeah. I mean, if they were aware enough to know that it's them getting reincarnated, it counts, right?
I don't know if like 90% of your friend's personality is different when they come back from the dead. Are you like, yes?
If you believe in reincarnation, like let's say you're a Hindu and you come back as a cow and you know that you're a cow, but you're a cow, it's still
Yeah.
reincarnation. Like everyone still recognizes that's what that
I
is.
know. I understand it's technically reincarnation. I'm just saying, do you, on a friendship level, recognize them as a friend
I
or
don't
a parent
I
or
don't
a brother or whatever,
I don't think
right?
I don't think it matters. They're paintbrushes. They have very little care about anything beyond fighting as it is.
That's, I guess. I'm just saying, Monaco has some pretty strong feelings about this, and he's a Gestrel, so
Okay. Good,
anywho.
good for him.
Anywho. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, good for Monaco. Monaco, not Monaco.
Monaco. Yeah. Monaco.
Certainly not Morocco.
No, not Morocco. That's okay. So anyways, yeah, I'm basically at a point with the game where I'm on the hardest level, I'm parrying everything or trying to.
Mm-hmm.
And when I beat bosses, I'm like, phew, I used 4 reses and 27 healing potions,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 of the other people were dead, and Lune barely squeezed it out at the very end. But we did it. Like, that's where I am with this game. And it's like, should I be aiming for a higher standard here? Should I be actually learning the fights better so I can have cleaner wins instead of like it's like parry the whole fight instead of like I successfully parried half of the attacks and that was enough.
Well, I
I
mean,
just got smashed in the face for half the fight.
if you successfully parry everything, you take no damage, and you
Yes.
get 20% more XP.
Yes.
Which I guess means you level up faster, you have more attribute points, and you can. Well, if you're gonna be like, I need to raise my standard on parrying, immediately go and respec everyone and pull every point out of HP that you've given them because they won't need it.
Mm.
Right.
If you're right, but if you're planning on doing that, yes.
Yeah,
Right, true.
um,
But I mean, it's not for any kind of it's not part. It's not like for a game reason. It's just for my own personal feeling about how I'm doing in the game.
Okay.
That's it. It's like I just feel like I'm barely scraping by and like using all these, like crutches, like the res potions and everything.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And like not feeling great about the fights at all and kind of learning certain mechanics just enough to get through the fight. But if I had to do it again, I'd probably screw it up.
Right.
I'm not really learning the fights so much as sort of learning the fights
I mean,
and getting through anyway.
so you
Right.
started this game being like, you started this game being like it's a console port, but
Mhm.
which it's not. But you also like it's a Dark Souls kind of game, right? I'll play it on the hardest difficulty. It has that inspiration, but it's not that kind of game. You did not approach Baldur's Gate 3 with being like, I need to learn all the mechanics used in this specific fight before we can move on. It's just not a thing that you need to think about. You wouldn't have thought about that while playing Final Fantasy VII. You just like, I just need to get through this random encounter or this boss fight. How do I do that?
Yep.
And this game's an RPG, and it functions more like those two than it does Dark Souls because it has inspiration from lots of places. So
That's fair.
Lower your standards, don't raise them.
They're pretty low, man. Like I said, one of the fights I did today, I was out of reses. Mael was dead. Verso was dead. Lune was on like 10% health, and I was like, okay, if I can counter these next 3 attacks, I'll win. And I did, and I was like, yes.
Hey, man, you got the win. That's the thing that matters here.
I know, right? So I'm just saying I can't lower my standards, or I'm not going to win these fights at all. This is pretty much the standard I need to be hitting to progress in this game.
Well, okay, so I'll clue you in on 2 things. At camp, I just saw you raise Mael's weapon from level 10 to 20, and I watched her attack power go from 400 to 1400. So
Yes.
in theory, she should be doing a lot more damage.
But it caps at 10,000 damage per attack,
There,
right?
there is a picto you can get to uncap that.
What?
You just have to
That's
beat all the mimes.
massive. Oh,
Which, no, that's
like
a joke.
through
That's
the whole game?
That's a
Oh,
joke
okay.
because you've missed mimes. Uh,
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I found one today. I was
So-
very proud.
Oh,
Mhm.
good. So I do believe you get it in a story beat. So you can't
Okay.
miss it, and you'll get it. But
Okay.
when it comes to like how hard your characters are hitting and what you're going to be able to do in a fight, and how much you need to like learn the fight, might actually go down because you'll hit harder.
Fair. There are fewer attacks to try to parry if you just win faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's my thing. It's like there's all these things that double burn damage, and I'm like, my burn damage is already doing 10,000 per thing, so I don't know if this helps me very much.
Well, it does against things that would still be resistant to burn. And, like,
Fair.
yeah.
I don't know that I found anything. Because, like, when Mael is in virtuose stance and she's throwing down that one attack, yeah, I mean, it's...
Raining fire. Yeah.
Yeah, raining fire, it's 10, 10, and then the burn on 20 stacks of fire is 10. I don't know, I found a boss that's like, actually, no, it's only 5 on me. It's like, no, it just seems to kind of be a little bit overpowered here, so... Actually, maybe there's a couple rock monsters that are more resistant to fire than everybody else.
Have you... I mean, I'm going to ask a question knowing the answer, but have you found the cave that tries to kill you with the walls closing in on both sides?
No.
Okay. I feel like that thing might have been resistant to fire.
Like the walls?
Yeah, so in Final Fantasy VII, you know there's a boss that you fight in the Temple of Ancients.
Yeah.
That it's like a big face in a wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, except it has these two other walls that come in and flatten you after 5 turns.
Cool.
So
All right.
You got to kill it quickly. And I feel like
Yeah.
it was resistant to fire. It might not have been. I might be misremembering, but it's a big rock wall, so it makes sense.
Yeah. That's funny, because Secret of Mana has a big rock wall boss that you might do a couple times. Just taking inspiration from everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The JRPG concept.
Yeah.
That's cool. That is cute.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's good. I mean, still, people are like, is this the game of the year? And I'm like, I have not hit a point where I'm like, this is the game of the year.
Really?
It's good. I like the voice acting. The combat is fun. The world is interesting and unique and creative. I like all that about it.
Uh-huh.
I still get hung up on the lifeless faces of the 3D models they use for the characters. I mean, I understand it's a small studio, so they're not like at the cutting edge of this thing. I understand that.
Sure.
But then you've got freaking Monoko, and Esquier, who just don't have faces, and it works because you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
It's just the voice acting, and the mocap is carrying it through for those characters, and it's great. It's totally fine.
So, if not this game, what game's game of the year? What else came out this year that you're like, oh, this is way better than Clair Obscura? Because game of the year isn't like a feeling, it's the best game. If every other game is shit, then this wins by default. Because it's good, and good can sometimes be enough.
Yeah. So, if that's what's going on, if you're someone that's like, this is the game of the year because the crop of games this year is garbage, then I need you to be clear about that when you say it's the game of the year. We've got Doom the Dark Ages, we've got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, Assassin's Creed Shadows came out this year.
No.
I know.
Blueprints is good. Split Fiction I've heard is very good. Death Stranding 2 is apparently out. I did not know that.
Oh, me neither. I didn't know that.
Yeah. What? Video games in 2025, or 2025 in video games is the Wikipedia article, and it goes from like, here are the games that scored 90 or higher on Metacritic, to major events being like consoles coming out, to notable deaths.
In the gaming industry?
Yeah.
Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah. In February 16th, Victor Antonov, 52, art director of Half-Life 2 and Dishonored died. Rest in peace.
Not a bad career. Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, there's not a whole lot that's above 90%. on on Metacritic, and Clear Obscura hits all the points that it needs to. It's got a creative world. Its characters are more or less interesting, right? There's like occasionally you
Yes.
get a CL or a Verso slots right in where Gustav was, but Verso's not an uninteresting character as he is. Minoko's great. Eskier's great. The Paintress is interesting because she's like you can see her from wherever she is, and she's doing a thing, and nobody knows why, and it's like killing everyone. It's a great plot motivator. So the story's there.
Yes, I'd say that's more story than character. Like the Paintress is not a character.
And that
She is
would-
an inciting. She is an inciting
She-
incident in your story.
She's a character in the way that people go, oh, well, New York's really like the fifth character in this movie that's present in every scene, you know?
That's fair. That's very fair.
But fair enough. Okay, she's plot, and the plot's great. Like, I want to know what's her deal, you know?
Right. Right.
Combat's
out, I
good.
guess.
Combat's good. Gameplay's fun.
Yep.
Yep. The game runs well enough. Like, I don't see any glaring issues. Like, nothing's gonna be perfect, or like you said with like the dead eyes. But oh well, that's why it's not 100 out of 100 on Metacritic. Only what did I get? 93.
Right, and that's fair. I guess the way that people are talking about it, I always kind of got the impression they meant like this is the game of the decade, or this is like my favorite game ever. And I'm like, well, but as you're explaining it, if they really just intend game of the year and looking at the crop of games, sure, absolutely.
There are two games whose average score is higher than this. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Both have scored higher, which I think both of those were already out before the Nintendo came out, I think. So I don't think those should count. They're not new games, they're just
No,
new editions.
Nintendo fans are stupid. Yeah, and the people. I saw a list of the Oblivion remaster being on one of the best games of the year too, and it's like, no, it's Oblivion. Like it's been a good game for a long time. It's not Game of the Year 2025. I'm sorry.
No. So, okay, there are maybe 4 games on this list that I'm reading. And if I were younger, Clair Obscura, it could absolutely be the game that's like, man, this thing's cool. I want to play it forever. I remember being, oh god, how old would I have been? 8 and playing Final Fantasy VII forever, right? Like, it was everything. Right. It was such a great game. Still is, but... You know, I already have a game that fills that spot, so Clair Obscura can't take it. But for other people, it might. For younger people, for sure. Getting a game like this, why not?
That's a good point. Because if you don't have a lot of experience with gaming, that makes a lot of sense. Although, I don't know. Like, games have progressed, right?
Sure, yeah.
Because what made Final Fantasy VII so great was it took the JRPG formula and gave it like cutting edge graphics, right? Final Fantasy VII was doing stuff that nothing else had done before in '97.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's the combination of just really smooth, good, just polishing some mechanics that have been in the Final Fantasy games and other games for a few years. Interesting characters, great music, a huge step up in graphics. Yeah.
But it's not even like a real step up in graphics. It's delivering those graphics into a home console because arcades had 3D games way before consoles did. So it's not even like
Tekken, right?
It's not even like games were Final Fantasy VII was like exclusively the first 3D game ever. It was just you could get that at home now.
That's a good point. That's fair.
And you know, it's you know, that's where it was in history. There are people who bought DVD players because they saw The Matrix or The Fifth Element on DVD at a store and were like, "Oh, cool, let's buy that movie." And that's why they've stuck around in the zeitgeist, basically.
Right.
I think Twisters was one of them as well, which
makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just some things come out at the right time. Are we going to see a huge tech overhaul in the near future? I don't think so, but...
No, we're getting diminishing returns on that, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly true. Okay, so that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is, I don't know. I'm just not sure this game does anything substantially better than anything that's come before it. Like, it's hitting the bar. It's like, this is what we expect from new games in terms of graphics and gameplay and everything else. It's hitting it, but nothing's like, holy crap, look what these guys did, you know?
I think the thing for me that really goes, look at what they did, is the turn-based combat. Because Square Enix, who makes Final Fantasy, have been like moving further and further away from turn-based combat in Final Fantasy games, being like, you can't really do it in a modern game. Because turn-based was originally like a limitation of having characters do stuff on screen. You needed to limit it to like one or two at a time.
Right.
And so they were like, well, now we don't have that restriction. We don't think turn-based is where it's at. And these guys went, excuse me, check this out. Hold my beer, or hold my wine and cigarette, and
My baguette.
yeah, and they absolutely killed it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I never buy the argument that the public is tired of a thing. I think people get tired of poor execution of the thing, but I think if you execute the thing well, then people are back on board.
Fair.
Like, people are sick of superhero movies, and then friggin' Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion, and it was like, are they really? Or do they just want something that they wanted in the superhero realm, and all the stuff you've been giving us for the last 5 years wasn't it? Right? I don't know. So, I do give them credit for doing it. Someone had to do it. Someone had to well execute the turn-based thing in a way that people are like, "Ooh, yes, we do like this," and I appreciate that. I do appreciate they mixed up just the mechanics of it too. You kind of have like two separate menus of abilities, and it kind of swap around. That kind of makes it feel a little bit more interesting as well.
The menu system in combat is another inspiration from another game called Persona. It's very inspired by them.
I did not know that, but it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yep. So
anyway.
Yep.
So they're just taking good stuff from existing games and executing it well and competently.
Sure.
And that's great.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by that.
I think, at some point, people go, well, you can't make story games anymore. And then someone came out with a story game and was like, yeah, see, look, lots of people bought Baldur's Gate. You know?
Yep.
It was a big issue that people were like, well, not people, like big AAA studios were like, well, you can't do single-player games anymore. You can't do them. People won't buy them. People just want their Call of Duties. They want their Fortnites. And people like EA were like, sweet, we'll make Anthem. And it's dog shit. You know? And then someone comes along and knocks a single-player game out of the ballpark. And it's, I would rather see Clair Obscura get recognized as Game of the Year than Legend of Zelda. Even if it's great. Even if Legend of Zelda is great, it's a re-release on a new...
Yes, that's a bad comparison. I don't want that just because it's not a 2025 game. Give me something else.
So you want reasons why Clair Obscura is better than Blueprints?
Yeah, right. I don't know anything about Blueprints.
It's a good game. You should play it.
Okay.
It's a puzzle game, and I don't know. I feel like at some point you have to recognize, you have to consider that popularity is a quality of a game. More people are probably going to be into a turn-based combat game than one about placing rooms in a mansion you've inherited, trying to find the 46th hidden room, and each rooms have puzzle elements, and they unlock things, and you slowly learn things, and then you run out of walking steps, and you have to go to sleep and start all over again until you can do it. It's a fascinating little mystery. A player like me got frustrated because I was like, I'm clearly missing something in my understanding of how this is supposed to work. Let me just go watch a playthrough. And yeah, how many hours did I put into it? That's a question.
Before you figured out what you were doing?
I didn't figure it out. I stopped. Right? I went and watched someone else do it, and I was like, oh, that was fun. I played 4.5 hours. And they were good 4.5 hours, because I don't think a game's like $90 or whatever.
Right.
It's 37 Australian. It's 15% off at the moment because of the Steam Summer Sale, which means it's like $10 American probably. I'd pick it up on sale. It's worth it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, that game is a smaller niche of a game. You're just gonna have a hard time getting 100,000 people to play that. But it can be really good for what it is. Absolutely, yeah.
What's wild is Clear Obscura came out 2 weeks later. Like they came out both in April. Split Fiction, also a co-op narrative game. It's like when I say narrative, I'm just being very broad with that, as like it's not Fortnite or something like that.
I've watched some videos about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a game I would like to play.
Though.
What?
It is a narrative game.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, you can also have games that are not narrative. Like I played. What did I play recently? Jeez, this is funny. It was 100 Italy Cats.
Oh.
It came out June 23rd. I beat it in 24 minutes. It's literally just like, here's a picture of like an Italy landscape. Click on 100 cats. It's like Where's Wally, but there's cats everywhere. There's cats built into the architecture and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a really fun. Is it game of the year? No. But you know what? It was fun. It was a good way to kill 24 minutes. But
right.
No
narrative. Got it.
It's not a narrative game, but it's a single player game, so it's not. It's also $2.60 at the moment. Go buy it, people. Have fun.
For 24 minutes.
Yeah, when you click on one of the cats, you get an achievement. Right, there are 100 achievements and 100 cats, and the cats are all named. It's super cute.
That does sound super cute. That is a good sell. Okay. Do they have like cat names, or are they named like Mr.
Mr.
Thompson?
Mr. Thompson.
Right?
Hold on. Let me. I literally.
Well,
just
they weren't
lost.
that memorable if you got to look it up.
Well, I can remember Panini, like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Because that was the last one I got. Right. There's Panini, there's Mozzarella, the Priosa, Ombra, Bianco, Mandoria, Miele, Tesoro, Nero, Azzurro, Luna, Piegro, Gnocchi. Some of them are named after like where you find them. Like I think Mozzarella was a little pizza face and a cat face and a pizza. There's Sarina, Bambino, Notte, Fiore.
It's more
Stella.
cat names then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're cat names, but they're also just Italian words. Like lasagna is not really a cat name, but there you go.
Yeah, I'm since mostly cat names, but definitely some not cat names in there too. 100%. Got it. Okay. Cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing Expedition 33. Just barely squeezing my way through these boss fights by the skin of my teeth. It's gonna be good.
You gonna do a new game plus when you're done?
Probably.
Drop the difficulty
so.
and explore. Go back and fight all the bosses that you couldn't beat.
I mean, I'm gonna go back and fight the bosses I couldn't beat during this playthrough. I'll go back every once in a while and give them a try.
Okay. Maybe once you've unlocked the ability to uncap your damage.
Ooh, yeah, that would be a good time to try it for sure. Because I'm curious. I'm always like, how much damage is Mael doing here? Because it is clearly not 9,999.
And you've just tripled her damage, so it should be a lot more.
Yeah, whatever it is, it should be a lot more. Right?
Yeah.
Apparently they nerfed her, because I was looking through some conversations about what they've changed in the game. Because I told you this, I think... Did I say this during the stream? But the first time you fight the white-haired man after he wipes out your group on the beach, I'm seeing people being like, that's a story beat. You go in, you beat him, you can't lose, and then he runs away. And I'm like, but also I got killed like 10 times.
So you can lose if you try hard enough, or don't try hard enough.
So I don't know. I don't know if they changed it, or if on the hardest level they don't make it a story beat fight, or something. There's something going on here.
Maybe.
But they've definitely nerfed Mael. There were a lot of threads on Reddit where they're like, they nerfed Mael. She doesn't like one-shot bosses anymore. And I'm like, that sounds amazing.
I mean, if you're playing it for the sense of personal satisfaction, do you want my L to one-shot everything?
No, no. I didn't say that sounds amazing and that's what I want. I'm just saying that sounds like an incredible amount of damage they gave her to start the game with.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it still wouldn't be the start of the game. It would be all endgame stuff after you've uncapped the damage.
No, they were talking about Act 1. Like, one-shotting bosses in Act 1 when the game first came out.
But your damage would be capped, and they have more than that much HP.
Maybe it wasn't capped. Maybe they added the cap, and that's how they nerfed my L. I don't know. I don't know the history of this game, and I want to. I need someone to just like sit down and explain all the patches. We need a Team Liquid for friggin' Expedition 33. It needs to be like patch 1.16. Here's what they did. That'd be so nice. Because they've done changes, man. They've been messing with this thing, which is weird. It's a single-player game. I mean, you're not balancing this for a freaking battle royale situation.
No, but you definitely don't want the game to be broken, and you have like if you have all these mechanics and you want people to use them and like to play the game how you intend, you can't just have them be like, all right, well now I basic attack and I kill everything on the continent, you know?
Right. I don't think it was that bad, but
Well,
right, you don't want that.
Sounds like that was essentially the problem, is that my L was too good, so they had to nerf
It
her.
wasn't just basic attacks. You had to like use the right ones, and you had to mark the enemies first with what Gustav was doing, and then she could one-shot stuff. It was like a very specific way that it was breaking the game.
Sure, but I mean, just doing the same combo and everything shouldn't work either, really. Unless I think by the end of the game it kind of should, if you go back and fight weaker stuff when you're over leveled. Doing whatever at that point should work, but it shouldn't work from the start of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Is it Warhammer time? Is there something else you want to cover?
Is there something else I wanted to cover? No, I think that's about it. If there is something else, I've definitely forgotten it.
Fair enough.
Oh, I could personally gripe that Harley Davidson's like going out of business in Australia.
Oh no! Seriously?
Yeah, so apparently, the like stock group that they're a part of, called Peter Stevens, who was like another motorcycle company. They do like gear, I think, and like secondhand sales. They entered like voluntarily administration or whatever for going out of business, and as such, they started selling off stores. And the store that I've been going to service my bike for like 10 years didn't get bought and closed down like overnight. Like it's just everyone lost their job and I have to go find somewhere else to get my bike serviced.
Have you found a place?
Weirdly, they just opened a new one about a half an hour drive away.
Huh.
And that one got picked up by whoever's like someone bought that asset and is going to run that business. So
Yeah.
I'll probably go there.
Well, it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing, but I used to be able to like drop my bike off and then walk home and then just be like, sweet.
Yeah.
I don't have to like sit around for 4 hours doing whatever. But now I can't do that. Well,
No.
I could get an Uber or a train or something, but then I've got to take all that time to go back.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even if you did have a friend or family member help like take you back home, then you have to go back again. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so.
Boo. Boo boo boo.
Personal gripes. That's Simicron's personal gripes.
Definitely. 100%. Personal gripe of gripe. Yeah, if you notice, I've got a little like scratch on my head. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah, just like by the temple. Yeah.
Yeah, and like a scratch on my arm. Can you
Ooh.
see that?
I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So there's this little starter tree growing in my garden in the backyard that I've been ignoring. And it got big enough to like scratch up against my window at night and make annoying noises. So I was like, all right. So I don't want that with the pruning shears, and I was clipping away and yep, stabbed myself in the head, got a nice scratch up the arm.
Nice.
It was great. It was very pokey. Yeah.
Well, that's why you gotta look after your yard. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the voles move in and they don't do it.
Bulls 100% do not do it. Those guys suck. No help at all.
Absolutely. They don't even pay rent.
No. All
right.
right, Warhammers.
Warhammer. Woo.
Warhammers.
Did you finish the book? Because, like, 3 days ago, you were halfway.
Have I ever been on the podcast halfway through the podcast and said no?
No, but...
Because there have been times I'm like, I couldn't get it done. Can we push the podcast back a day?
That's
But
true.
I don't get halfway through and then be like, no.
Well, here's the thing. A couple weeks ago, you said you had a stress stream that you hadn't finished the book. And now I'm worried you're going to see if you can pass off having read it when you haven't. Like, you're going to try and just wing it.
Who says I haven't done that already, Sonic? You don't know.
I don't think your integrity would allow you to keep that unrevealed.
No, probably not.
I think you'd admit to the bit because I think it was funny.
Not because you think it was funny, more from the personal responsibility aspect of it, most likely.
Okay.
Anyway.
What did we read this week, Falcon? Do you remember that?
Carrion Throne, Vaults of Terra Book 1.
Yeah.
So for starters, I just want to say, naming this the Carrion Throne is dumb. It's a terrible title for this story. It makes no sense. It doesn't. I understand the throne is involved in the story a little bit. I get that. But it's not the book. This implies the throne has a central piece in the action and what's going on here, and it's not.
It does. All of the events that happen in this book happen because of the throne. Everything here. Everything. It is the inciting incident.
I know, but it's like naming Expedition 33 The Paintress.
Yeah, you could.
Bad name. Not a good name. I'm just saying. I don't like it. If you're going to tell me your book is named The Carrion Throne, I want to see the throne. Can I see the throne once in the book? No,
yes.
You can't.
Yes, you can.
No.
Yes.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
The book, no. At the very end, you're like 80 stories below the throne, and you can kind of hear something going on, and you look up, and I guess the throne's up there. Sure.
You're in the throne room.
That's another question I have. Are they in the throne room at the end? It's not super clear.
Okay, so they're definitely in. We see it in
because we spent time in the throne room during the Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
I know what the throne room is.
Yeah, during the Siege of Terra, we definitely spent some time in the throne room, but we also spent it in this little hidden sanctuary where the Primarchs all had houses and apartments, and there's a lake underground. Yeah. So I think that's where we are, and I think Erasmus Krall is seeing the light of the Emperor through rocks and stones and stuff, but it's still vaguely considerable as the throne room for him. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Especially to the custodians, they're like, no, this all counts as places people do not go. It's one and the same. Right.
100% off limits for the custodians. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. All right. So that clears that up. Still, again.
Well, here's the thing. It's a metaphor for the way we always interact with the Emperor in 40k, which is he's just over there. He's just over there. Some characters can kind of see him, but you don't get to. Right? That's the way all interaction with the Emperor basically goes in 40k.
Right. And we get Guilliman getting an audience with the Emperor.
Yeah.
Right? That's as close as we get?
That is as close as we've ever gotten. I believe so, yeah. I mean...
Okay.
Inquisitor Drac Draco? Jack or Drac? Drac Draco? I don't know. It's an Ian Watson book, so I haven't read it. But he apparently has to infiltrate the Imperial Palace and have a chat to the Emperor himself, and it was super weird even in the 80s when he wrote that. But there's precedent, is what I'm saying.
Who's this guy that got past everyone to have a chat with the Emperor?
Jack Draco. He's an Inquisitor. He was an Inquisitor.
He's an Inquisitor.
Yeah,
he's
but
not like friggin' Batman or something. Like, what the hell?
Well,
That's insane.
That's Conrad Kurz.
Yeah. Sort of. More murdery, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had to sneak in. He had to, like, dodge roving packs of custodies and stuff.
Dang. Impressive.
But in theory, it can be done if you take it as canon.
Right. Again, it's 40K. The canon is squishy. The canon is whatever it needs to be at any given time.
The canon is squishy,
for the most part.
but I feel like you don't get to see the Emperor is pretty solid.
Yeah, except for the one time that Inquisitor did, and the time Gilliman had a chat with him. Right, squishy.
Yeah. Yeah, is it squishy?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay. Look, the Emperor's not a character in 40K. He's on the stupid throne. He's keeping the warp at bay. He's providing light in the warp for people to travel through the warp. It's great. But that's it. That's all we get from the Emperor. He is a tool that is mostly keeping humanity alive and helping them travel the galaxy. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. No disagreements.
Right.
So,
Carrion Lord, indeed.
So about this, I mean, he even gets referred to as the Carrion Lord. Like,
I know.
it's a great name for a book. I don't understand what your problem is. Like, Legion, perfect. There's a Legion in it. Right?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if you name your book The Carrion Lord, I feel like someone should see the throne at some point. That's it. The Carrion Throne. Someone should see the throne in the story.
Okay. I mean, does it bother you that the boys is called the boys, even though there's a girl in the group?
No, because they call themselves the boys, and the group of people are constant characters in every episode and doing things all the time.
But there's a girl in it. How can they be the boys if there's a girl? How can it be the Carrion Throne if there is no one sitting on a Carrion Throne?
There is someone sitting on the Carrion Throne. We just don't ever get to see them.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Tell you what. After this book, we're gonna read The Watches of the Throne, and that's gonna blow your mind.
Oh no. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. So I mean, we might as well just spoil the whole darn thing here, right?
Go for it.
The plot of the book is some of the High Lords of Terra are like, we get the feeling things are not going well for old Big E on his throne. We feel like the throne is maybe breaking down after 10,000 years. If that happens, we are fucked. So here's our plan. We're going to grab a Dark Eldar and bring him here and have him fix the throne for us.
That's
the hell?
Not the plan. That is not explicitly the plan. The plan is we do get a little bit of conversation with one of the Inquisitors, Amadara Rasilio, before she gets brutally shot through the head, that there was a deal made, and this Dark Eldar is coming to advise and inspect to be like, what exactly is wrong with this piece of technology?
Yes.
So he's not coming to fix it. He's not the repairman. He's just coming for a quote.
Right.
But what we are told is that, like, the High Lords, some of them were in this little hidden cabal, have already agreed to hand over planets and, like, billions of souls to the Dark Eldar, being like, sure, we will stop defending this area. You can come and reave and slave and do whatever it is you do here.
We know what you do. It's not whatever it is you do. We're aware of what you do. Yes. But as we've always said, what's the greatest, grandest resource in the Imperium? People. So they're like, screw it. Like, we'll give them a few billion people, and we've got trillions and trillions. We've got more people than we know what to do with out there. This is a great deal. Welcome to 40K.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, for them, is it like, it's a great deal. Like, we got a real bargain on it. Only one system. It's great. But for us, we're supposed to be like, these are the people who are supposed to be like defending and leading humanity, and they are, for the most part, doing that. You know?
Yeah, it's for the greater good, right?
Oh, is it though? Because what if the machine's not broken?
That's what they're telling themselves. It's for the greater good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, so we've got to take it on their word that the machine is breaking,
Right.
and that they don't
Although,
have any other
how the
plans.
hell any of them know anything what's going on with this thing?
So one of the locations in which they bring this thing down to the planet is a Mechanicus enclave, and I feel like the High Lord of the Mechanicus, like the Mechanicus representatives to the High Lord, is probably involved. And so it's like, okay, if the guy running the Mechanicus, the Fabricator General of Mars, he's a tech guy, he's probably looked at the chair, you know?
Sure, but I feel like the people in 30K who like found it and installed it don't quite understand how this thing works either.
Yeah, a lot of it was done with the Emperor's guidance specifically. But I mean, if you understand a little bit of it enough to replace like a spark plug, and you know that you're having to replace them more and more often because other systems aren't as efficient, you can go, well, this thing's breaking down. Like, that's enough.
That's true. That's fair.
Um,
Didn't he find the throne? Like, wasn't this
he found
yard sale find?
He found something and made a throne out of it, right? Like, we don't know all the details.
I thought it was a throne when it was found, and then it was like, obviously like adjusted and changed and things, but it was a throne.
I think it was a warp etheric manipulator. I don't know that it was something you sit on.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
That's interesting.
I don't remember that off the top of my head. It could be. If you can find a reference for it, I will happily adjust my opinion.
And it's the impression that I got from some conversations that were in the Horus Heresy
Well,
of the 30 books we read over the last 2 years. So
Look,
I don't have a quote for you.
there's definitely I found something, you know.
Yeah.
Especially because like this even reinforces that, in which they can bring up a Drukhari and be like, you know what this is, right? Like, you understand where this technology came from, and it's like, yes, now let me eat your people.
Right. Right. But then what I love is that they make this deal and they sneak him into the solar system and they sneak him onto Terra.
Mm-hmm.
And then he breaks out, starts murdering everybody, creating horrible human murdering machines,
Grotesques.
which grabs the attention of everybody, and then the custodies come and take him down. And it's like, so what was your plan here? Like, you're a Drukhari, I understand you have this impulsion to create pain and suffering and experience it yourself, like it's what you are. But if you could keep it in your pants for like a couple days, you could have got exactly what you wanted. Like, why was this hard?
So impulse is a strong word. They like need to do it, otherwise they die, right? Like, you get that.
Fine.
Do they need to create 30 of these grotesques over 2 weeks while it slowly makes its own way into the palace? Probably
Right.
not the ideal plan. I think they had intended to covertly slip it in while nobody was looking during the feast. You know?
Yeah. Totally.
So things went awry. To put it mildly.
And just because he couldn't control his needs, couldn't do it. That's why it failed, because the Drukhari couldn't keep it in his pants. Like I said,
Kind of.
sucks.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, so why did the Drukhari escape? Like, why weren't they able to control it? What went wrong?
I don't know. Does it actually give us a thing there?
I don't know that it does. Oh, no, it does. The first Inquisitor found them at the... So there's a dead Inquisitor that finds them at the Mechanicus Enclave where it's brought in, and there's a big old firefight, and we get like an audio log of him being like, please look after my apprentice. She's great.
Right.
And so I think that's how it gets out, if I'm putting the pieces
But,
together.
like, why is there a get out? Like, he's there to work with these people.
Well-
He's not a caged animal that they're planning on letting loose on the planet to wreak havoc. They need him for a very specific thing.
Well, once people start shooting at it, it probably was like, well, who do I trust? They're all shooting at me. I'll just start eating them. And that probably
Yeah.
didn't help its PR, you know?
Yeah, I just feel like if the Mechanicus are there and they're like, "What's up, dude? Here's what's going on." They're briefing him, and then an Inquisitor shows up and starts murdering everyone.
Mm.
Like, I don't know. I'd still be cool with the Mechanicus. I'd be like, "All right, Adeptus Mechanicus.
It,
Clearly, these people are mad, but like, you're still neat." I don't know.
so, Adamara, she was the Inquisitor pretending to be Quantrain. Like, she had invented this Quantrain person. So, it goes, the Inquisition have promised me protection. They can't do it from themselves. The secret is blown. If someone figured it out and I'm here, somebody else can and will and does.
Yeah.
So I have a strong feeling that it's actually the attempt to cover it up. That like it in the scuffle it escapes, right? Like it runs off into a dark corner, then it can't keep it in its pants, and that's essentially what happens. And then, Quantrain and Geigo Locke, the interrogator, essentially try to cover it up, and that draws more attention to it because it starts putting out information that there was something going missing.
Right. And then multiple Inquisitors get involved. The Custodians catch wind of it.
Yeah.
And from there, you're done. Like, good luck. Yeah.
So, how do you feel about Luce Spinoza, the firebrand?
I don't know. She's pretty typical. Like, pretty typical super brainwashed Inquisitor. Young. Has not turned into the super practical, jaded version of the Inquisitor that you turn when you're 100 years old and doing this. Super pious. She's all about her little refrains, her little, like, I say these 4 words, and that's how I remain focused on what I'm doing here. She doesn't sleep the whole book. I don't think she sleeps once.
She says she gets like a couple hours here and there, but it's
She says she's going to get a couple hours, and then she spends time researching what's going on. I don't think she sleeps. I don't think she sleeps a single minute in this entire story. And at the end of the story, she still hasn't slept. It's insane. She's like, she's not feeling great, and she's pretty feverish. And I'm like, yeah, because you haven't slept in a week. You're going to die.
so in the last book we read, Wraith didn't sleep either, and he hadn't slept for 4 years. All right.
Well, that's true. That is true.
So it is a thing that with time, money, and skill, I don't know, you can not need sleep, I guess.
Well, I mean, but Wraith has been physiologically altered to an extreme level for his job, right?
Sure, and she's walking around in a suit of power armor with a pharmacopoeia that can probably keep her awake when she's getting a little drowsy.
No, I know. She can stay awake. I'm saying it's not good for her. I don't think she can do 4 years.
She probably shouldn't do 4 years.
Right.
Yeah, I think
That's just an aside. I just thought it was interesting. That literally, she talks about going to sleep a couple times, and then she never gets around to it.
I assume that when like she's talking with Crowl at the end, she slept by then because it comes across as like a couple days later,
No.
even after
I
the
know.
because like the entire story is 4 days leading up to the Sanguinala feast at the gate, and then this is like a little bit later.
I hear you. I understand this. I read it.
I feel like when time skips forward a day, you can assume she took a nap. But
Got it right here.
Go
What does
for
she
it.
say?
Go for it. Read me an extract. Go for it.
He's talking to Crowl about how he's not as pious as she wants him to be, but I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
God, where is she? Come on, Spinoza.
Come on.
I know. It's in here somewhere. It's right. This conversation is longer than I thought it was. For heaven's sakes, guys.
Well, the conversation's a longer
Knows
than
it.
you think.
Yeah. Crowl and Spinoza are recapping.
Oh, wait.
I know. It's in here. It says... Maybe just search for the word fever.
Search for the word sleep.
No, that's too much.
Oh, there's a lot of people talking about go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Yeah, remember I said how many times she talks about she's going to go to sleep and then she never does?
Right, but you can just look at the last one.
Here it is.
Okay.
Spinoza watched the feast from Corvain's summit. The worst of her wounds had been treated, but her entire body still ached from overexertion. She hadn't slept for days, and she felt feverish.
She hadn't slept for days. Okay. Go to sleep, woman.
I know! What's her deal?
Eat your grapes and go to sleep.
Insanity. When was this book written?
I want to say like 2016.
So in the middle of the Horus Heresy coming out?
2017. Yeah, more or less in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're talking about Sanguinius's fight at the gate, and it's a huge thing in the Horus Heresy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if that had been written before this book.
Nope.
Like, if Chris Wraight knew what was going on, he didn't know. So he just knew the broad strokes of, like, here's the established lore. Sanguinius does some incredible stuff at the gate.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know exactly what happened, but it was great, and everyone celebrates it all the time.
Well,
or every year or whatever.
Yes and no. So, while it's true that he probably knew that Sanguinius did something at the gate, we already knew that Sanguinius' sacrifice, the thing that they're actually celebrating, was not at the gate. So it's not like those are technically two separate events, but they're being treated as one big festival here. It's like this is the day he died, and so we go and celebrate at a place we can go to where he did something cool.
Got it.
Yeah, which also a lot of the Primarchs are dead. Sanguinius is the only one that gets a holiday.
Seriously.
I believe.
There's
Well,
a Yagatai Khan reference, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so we don't have a holiday for that guy. I see how this is.
right. I mean, Gulliman probably had a holiday on Ultramar, like
That's true.
on Macragge. Ultramar's not a thing you can be on really.
And then he came back and it was super awkward. Yeah, I bet that happened.
Probably, yeah. So, you know, Sanguinius gets lucky. He gets Sanguinala, which is also Christmas. So in my head, all the pilgrims had like Christmas hats on and stuff.
Poor pilgrims, man.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Millions and millions of them come for this thing, and like most of them will never get close to the gate.
Most of them are
And
getting
there's
lost in like the warrens and the underhives and stuff like that, and like
yeah.
the priests are kind of feeding them, kind of not, but they have these vox hailers blaring like hymns and stuff at them at 24/7, dispensing hallucinogenic incense on them. They're drugged out of their mind. They don't know where they are, and when they die, people will come, see if they've got any decent organs, take those and their hair for pillows.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's great. There's a lot of really good world building in here.
It's just further establishing 40K. It's like, here are some details that further enhance what this world build is, what we've been doing with it. But I don't know. Like I've said, once I got to the point where like, this is what 40K is, I don't think it really gets enhanced at all, right? My understanding of what 40K is, by giving us stuff like this, I'm like, yes, I get it. It's 40K. Like, I don't need the details of what they're doing to these pilgrims. You just tell me there are millions of pilgrims coming to the gate. I get it. I understand what's happening to them. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this.
I don't feel like they spend too much time on it. I don't think they spend a lot of time on it either. But that like what 40K is not just the horrific treatment of all these pilgrim. It's being told about it. So you have to have that for me.
Fair enough.
I feel like if you
can do you.
I think if you get too far away from the people, it gets a little bolter porny, where it's just like, and then the Space Marine shot 10 guys with his gun and yelled brother a bunch.
Yeah, we always said that, right? If there's too much Space Marine in a book, you need a human perspective somewhere in there to keep you grounded. 100%.
And Spinoza is that Space Marine. She even has a it's called Argent. It's a what's it called? It's like a big mace. Um,
Yeah. Like a power maul.
it's a Crozius Arcanum she got gifted from a chaplain of the Imperial Fists, right?
I'd read a book about her hanging out with the Imperial Fists. That sounds awesome.
Well, I got good news for you.
Oh, good. There is one.
I do believe that there is a short story that was written just before or around the same time as this book called Argent, which is just that. It's how she gets the power mace.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. She is incredible with that thing, man. She kills like hundreds of dudes with that throughout the course of one book. She's like John Wicking it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I found a thing that I've been looking for about the pilgrims.
Okay, yep.
So she's watching it. She's watching the feast. She says, the procession had reached the eternity gate. Those assembled there, the elect of the elect, would only have moments to glimpse the splendor of the banners, the titans, the great golden doors, before they hurried away again. In their exhaustion and their excitement, most would see nothing at all. Only a few might retain a grasp of their faculties and realize that they had gazed at the immortal halls of the Emperor himself. It's like, oh man. So like of the elect,
Mm-hmm.
the very luckiest, very most privileged ones, like 80% of them see nothing.
Right.
And then maybe 20% of them see something, and 10% gather what they're seeing, and maybe 5% of those remember it. Like, awesome, guys. Like, this is a great pilgrimage. You guys are killing it out here.
Yeah, I mean, so the elect of the elect, are they the same ones that are, like, getting hypno-drugged and are dying of dehydration? Or are those
Probably.
are they the elected elect? And what we're supposed to take away from that is that they are so incensed with pious ecstasy that's why they don't remember it. Because, like, Crowl, he gets a personal visitation to the gate because Naravarand is like, I don't think you you seriously understand what the gate is. There is no threat to the gate. I'll show you. And he goes there and he's like, oh shit, this thing will never be breached. It can't be. And he's like collapsing further because of it. Is that?
And he says, I mean, the heretical power of everything that was thrown at this thing 10,000 years ago couldn't breach it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing in the galaxy today that can breach it. And then 2 chapters later, they're like, actually, this one guy can do it by himself. And I was like, damn.
Well, he doesn't breach the gate. He doesn't breach the eternity gate. But it is funny because he does like some he does some like magic-y techno blink inside. He like stalker blinks it.
Yeah.
He doesn't breach the gate. But thinking of it as even all the heresy 10,000 years ago, nothing could breach the gate. It's like, we've read the Horus Heresy there now. We know they get inside the palace, but they don't technically breach the gate.
That's a good point. That is true.
Warp goes all silly and like lets people inside.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
So that's something that Navandron should have accounted for. Should have been like, yeah. Because he was there, right? He was there at the heresy.
Presumably, maybe. Yeah.
Are they making new custodes?
Yeah. It's a slow process, but they can
How?
still make them. Well, the same
What?
way they made them before. Spit, grit, and a whole lot of duct tape.
Well, anyway, the institution of the Custodes was around during the heresy, and they understand the concept of warp transiting into the palace.
Right, but the Emperor is no longer... like, I assume he's still maintaining that telesthetic ward that keeps demons off, right? And it's no
Right.
longer reduced. So at the height of the heresy, at the siege, it was, like, shrinking. And that's why demons could manifest, why Angron could land on the planet.
Well, because it was Malkador on the throne, right?
No, even when it was the Emperor. It was only
okay.
Malkador at the very end.
Yeah.
Which didn't help, you know. But
Yeah.
same gist. But here, that shouldn't be an issue. And we get a little bit of it when they're like, the Auto Xenos assassin lady is like, well, the Drukhari actually shun all witchcraft. They don't do magic. And I've read a Drukhari book where they're like, yeah, playing with the dimensions of time and space is a science thing we can do. It's not warp bullshit. And so when he gets in there, it's not warp bullshit that we're supposed to be looking at. It feels like it because it's like a teleporter kind of thing that Crow runs through. He like runs through this like black misty haze or whatever and ends up in the sanctuary of the Primarchs. But it's not magic.
Right.
And I don't know...
Because if it was warp stuff, he would have never gotten in.
Right.
Yeah. So whatever it is,
Although,
custodians need to be briefed on it because it's a problem.
it's a problem. What I will say,
Yeah.
the thing that I think really interesting about Spinoza and Crow is that they're both... Well, Spinoza in specific is church trained, right? Like, the ecclesiarchy raised her in the Skolum, so she does all these prayers and chants and stuff to center herself. But even as an inquisitorial interrogator, even as an inquisitor, they believe the lie that is the Emperor created 9 Primarchs to fight 9 devils of the warp.
Right. Dude, there's a scene where Kroll is there in wherever he is, close to the throne room, and he sees the frieze with 20 Primarchs and goes, huh, that's weird.
Why are there 20? I don't understand.
And I was just struck by how effective the propaganda effort of the Imperium has been over the last 10,000 years, because nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Nobody
Not
knows.
even like the highest, most experienced, most knowledgeable inquisitors in the galaxy. They have no idea. Awesome.
Which is strange, because they definitely do know that, like, Chaos Space Marines exist, and they were legions that fell, but they didn't, to them, they just didn't all have Primarchs.
Right.
Because like in the last book we read, they mentioned that, like, oh, you sought help from an Iron Hands, but it was probably an Iron Warrior. And, like, I get that's an assassin, but that's still, like, an Imperial of note. It's like, okay, so you get that, like, there were Iron Hands as a legion. Like, you understand that formation exists, but, like, at the same level, these people just, they didn't have a Primarch. The Primarchs had, like, 2 each or something, right?
Yeah. It's funny, we've never seen anybody put that together, right? Or even just ask the question, like, why are there all these legions of Chaos Space Marines that feasibly didn't have a Primarch over them?
Well,
like, all of the loyalist ones did, so what the hell? Yeah.
Spinoza even asked the question, why did the Emperor make 9 to fight the Devils of the Warp? Why didn't she make 100 Primarchs? And she got a beating for it. So that's probably why we don't see it happening a lot.
Because the desire to question the history of the Imperium gets beaten out of you at a young age. Yeah. So, okay, my question about Warhammer is, at what point was that lore that there were 20 or whatever Primarchs and half of them fell?
At what point was that lore?
Is that, like, from the beginning?
No.
Did they have that planned out? No.
So, I've told you before that stuff like the Flight of the Eisenstein, that ship that took the word from the Horus when he first turned back to Terra, that predates the idea of Primarchs entirely, right?
What?
Yeah.
What is Horus, then, in that story?
Just a commander. Just like one of the Emperor's favorite commanders. He was just a dude.
Oh, damn. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
So the Primarchs came along afterwards. When they capped it at 20, I don't know. They definitely took some characters that they had and made them Primarchs, like Horus and like Lehman Russ.
Yep.
I've shown you that photo of Lehman Russ from like Rogue Trader where it's black and white and he's just like covered in cybernetics and not a wolf head around to be like, you're a Viking, right, Russ? He's like, no. So when they made him 20, I don't know.
Okay.
But it would have been years after the start. Yeah.
So at some point, someone had the idea of 20 Primarchs, half of them fall to the warp. And that's what the heresy is all about.
Yeah.
And then they wrote it in the 2010s.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Took them a while to get around to it. It was a big story to tell.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, anything else from this book that you really like?
I was interested in the peasant uprising in the book, where they're like, so there are these demons in the Underhive that are murdering us. real bad. And none of the people who are in charge give a shit about us getting murdered all the time, so we're gonna start our own thing.
I do like that because it's very easy to say that, like, well, the Imperium keeps a very tight leash on its people, right? It's another thing to say, here we're gonna have Spinoza, a character who, in theory, gets all that, but even she doesn't understand just how burnt out on fear the Imperium citizens are, and she wants to go down and beat the information out of everyone in the Underhive, to burn it all. And at that point, the thing that she knows is that they are associating illegally. Is that
Right. That's it.
These are people who
You're
are
not-
forming book clubs to her, and she she is like questioning other Inquisitors, being like, "Why is this tolerated on Terra?" You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, at that point, she doesn't even know what the issue is. It's just the association that's driving her.
Yeah, that is heretical enough. It's kind of the same thing. Like Krall says, the people are afraid all the time.
Yeah.
They are set on 11 constantly. And Spinoza's personal heresy scale is set on 11 constantly. If it is heretical, it is heretical on the same 11 scale, right? Yeah, good stuff.
But yeah, so the people are like, well, we can't go and tell the authorities. They'll assume we're a fantasist, like we're just someone who imagines things. Like you have imagination. That's a heresy. So they're unable to like get the help or even to point out that, hey, there's something in the Underworld that's like killing people. We need you to like raise the alarm. And they're like, the book even starts with a guy Crowl is like interrogating, being like, well, in my younger days, I'd have skinned you alive to make sure that's all you really knew. And that the book ends doing the exact same thing to one of those people as well.
Inquisition never changes.
Yeah.
Nope. And again, what I like about Warhammer is it's not like because they're evil. It's like there really is a massive threat of people accessing the warp and bringing monsters into the world if they do certain things and believe enough in certain things, right? So yeah, they're actively fighting against literal monsters from nightmares, and they can come through random everyday people screwing up.
Not every random everyday person, right? Like,
No, that's not what I meant. Not everybody, but everyday average Joe out here can be someone to bring a demon into town.
if they're a psycho, yeah.
Yeah.
Not every.
And you don't know who's a psyker.
Well,
You can't perfectly detect who's a psyker all the time. We've had that discussion too.
probably not, but most of the stories usually go that, like, around adolescence, psychers do some weird shit, and then that gets called in. So
Most of the time.
most of the time, not always. Sometimes there's like people living in too isolated of a community. Sometimes it's the governor is like, well, I'm not handing over my son. I can use my status to cover this up. But the Inquisition is going around fighting people who can like call demons from the warp. That is true. But the actual risk of that on a day-to-day level, especially on Terra, where the Emperor's wards are protecting the entire planet, is 0. Right?
Okay.
So
So when they're hearing about the false angel, they're not actually worried that someone's out there summoning a demon onto Terra. It's 0 risk.
whether or not they know it's 0 risk is a different thing.
Okay.
Naradaran, I think in that conversation he has with Crowl, someone points out that there's wards on Terra that, like, because Naradaran goes, well, there's power in killing, like they can manifest warp power vaguely. And I think it's Crowl points out, well, like, well, on Terra that's very unlikely. There's got to be another reason why they're doing it. So it's possible that he knows it's like, oh, I just realized something from another book. He probably recognizes that it's very low risk for warp stuff to happen on Terra through a few random killings. which is what he knows about. 'Cause he doesn't know about the grotesques yet.
Right.
So he's probably not like, it's my top of my concern to go out and find the demon they've summoned. I think that's pretty unlikely at this point. And like, as his day-to-day mission statement is not to go out and find demons.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
Especially since bringing a Xenos from an off-world is apparently way easier than going to be summoning a demon. I think that's higher on his like likelihood of expected events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, the larger point that I have is that the Inquisition is terrible and persecuting the people and horrible, but also what they're fighting against is real. Whereas in previous historical comparisons, like the little Spanish Inquisition, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's heresy, it's disbelief, and witch burnings in past times. Like, there are no witches, there are no real demons that anyone can summon. There's none of that magic that's actually going around. You're doing this for no reason.
Well,
right?
If we take that example, the ecclesiarchy raised Spinoza, and her previous inquisitor, Ter, raised her to be a firebrand in the vein of piety, and what we get is that Crowl was committing like a revenge by subverting his legacy with his greatest trainee, because that interrogator killed his wife, maybe? This is what we get at the end, when Crowl finally admits to like Spinoza, why I wanted you.
He doesn't use the word wife, but yeah, it pretty much is. Right?
A wife or a loved one, maybe a child, because like they do call they do call his like fortress people the bloodline, so maybe it was like his kid. I actually think it might be his kid, and the lady servitor thing at the record room might have been his wife at the time. I think that would
snap.
Yeah, I think it might be really sad and fucked up and very 40k.
Very 40k, yeah.
So what we do know is that there are inquisitors going around building pyres for witches who aren't real. That they're not. That they're just doing it to the population because they don't have enough faith. It's very real world. Even though, yes, technically there is like a teeny tiny chance that they could have been a psycho.
I'm just saying, it's real what they're afraid of. Whereas on Earth today, our world is not real. There's a difference. That's all. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm not saying what they're doing is good.
Sounds like you're saying it's justified because there's a chance they could catch a real psycho.
Okay, well, I'm not saying it's justified. I'm just saying that's a difference.
I don't think it's an important difference.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah, I think going around putting whole sections of people to the flame is still bad. Even if
definitely bad.
Even if the psychers are real. Because we know we can train psychers. There is a psyker in one of the Eisenhorn. Oh, not a psyker. He's like a witch hunter for the church, who's like, Eisenhorn, I'm coming to kill you right now. Even though Eisenhorn's like in the middle of getting his weapons blessed or whatever, and he's like, oh god, not now. It's this guy who's just like, this guy's a trained psyker. He's an inquisitor, but he's still a witch. Let's go kill him. So the idea that just because the thing that they're fighting is real means their actions vaguely make more sense, because like you've got to do something to catch these people, doesn't matter because they don't really care. It's still just like, even if the psychers are real and we could train them to be useful because the Imperium runs on psychers, they're still just like, kill them all. They're very much cutting off the nose despite the face in that scenario. So it doesn't really play out as well for me, that idea. You know what I mean? I think I'm muddling it, but I think you might be able to get it.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So the good guy version of the Ecclesiarchy and the Inquisition just looks for burgeoning psychers, grabs them, trains them to be able to handle their power, and makes them useful subjects of the Imperium.
They pass them on to the black ships. They get the Sisters of Silence in, because that's the counterpoint. It's psychers could summon demons, but we have people who can just stand around and suddenly their power is entirely cut off.
Right, and not that many, because we had that discussion a few weeks ago too. As there aren't that many gnolls running around.
No, they're not.
Right.
So okay, let's play the numbers game. Is it better for the Imperium to torch a whole city because there might be psychers in them, or because whatever signs that this Inquisitor is personally picking up, these people aren't faithful enough, and that might lead to a psyker? Who knows how psychers manifest? Is that less people than if you just let psychers manifest and summon demons and then go clean up afterwards?
Are the fire prevention efforts you're taking worse than just letting the fires go?
Right. Is the backburn worse than the Inferno?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, imagine it depends on each circumstance individually, but as a whole,
I think
I don't know. There's some pretty bad demons out there.
I think one person in charge of starting fires with very little oversight is probably worse, because they can just be like, start this fire. There's an Inquisitor who called exterminatus on all the planets in a sector.
Dang.
Because the Tyranids were coming, and they're like, well, they eat biomass, let's get rid of all the biomass in their path, so they'll be weaker when we fight them, or not as strong as they could be.
Sounds like the Protoss, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. So, the Cryptman Gambit is what I think it's called. Even the Inquisition goes, he went a little too far, and, like, lock him up.
That's good.
So, yeah.
All right.
Interesting discussion. Thank you for having it.
It is definitely interesting.
So this is a book 1 of 3, which means
Yes, it is.
we're reading The Hollow Mountain
Okay.
next.
Sounds good.
Do you think there will be a mountain that is hollow in this book, or do you think the name is just there to annoy you again?
So, remember that Hollow Mountain that was in the Siege of Terra?
Uh-huh.
Is it that?
Yeah, it's that.
It's that. Okay. So, great title. I'm down with it.
But do they go there?
Oh. Guess we'll find out.
We will find out. Oh, actually, I do want to ask you one question about this book. How did you feel it being set on Terra, and it's all about the High Lords and stuff, essentially, and Gulliman is not back. This is a book that is pre-Gulliman.
Oh, I did not pick up on that. Okay. Well, how do I feel about the fact that Gulliman doesn't exist in this story?
How did you feel? Like, if you didn't pick up on it, that's essentially what I'm asking. Like, you didn't notice a difference. You didn't think it was important that Gulliman, as a High Lord, wasn't mentioned. That the Custodes were like still just hanging around on Terra because they effectively aren't allowed to until Gulliman gets back. Like, they do kind of sneak off and they have ears and stuff out there. But as a fighting force, that's a thing that does not happen until Gulliman comes back.
I didn't know that. So that didn't mean anything to me.
Okay, fair enough.
I guess my understanding of Gulliman in 40K after he comes back is he's busy doing stuff. He's out there starting crusades and prosecuting wars and fighting the good fight all the time. He's very busy. I can't imagine him sitting on a council at Terra being like, so, how are things these days?
So, yeah, I mean, there's on the wheel, there is the 2 books that talk about that, and I think he actually sits on Terra for about a year. Like, he hangs...
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he missed the last
Sanguinella.
Sanguinella.
Is it right when he gets back?
That book is like,
So that makes sense.
There's a scene in the other book where they, like, literally go, there's, like, this thing happens, and they're like, we have to go to this thing, we need to get there. When they get there, it's like, oh shit, that's a Primarch, there's one back. Like, that's Gulliman coming to Terra, is the thing.
Yeah. Because it makes sense that he comes back, he's like, I have a lot to catch up on, let's hang out with the leadership of the Imperium, see what I need to know. Right? And then go out there and do stuff about it. But yeah, I didn't imagine this story would be set during the tiny time period where he's on Terra hanging out.
Yes. Well, he's not back yet, so he's not here yet.
'Kay.
At least for the book we just read.
Right.
But yeah, it is like right before it. That was my point.
Got it.
Yeah. Cool. I know Gulliman being around is some of your favorite plotline from what we've read.
I like Gulliman.
Yeah,
I'm basic.
You're a
What do you
Gulliman
want from
stan.
me?
You're a Gulliman stan.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, got the book. Dunzo.
Got the book. Excellent. Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Unless there's something else.
No, just making sure I got the book. I will check that later. All right. Thanks for hanging out for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour. Stream live on twitch.tv/Somicron. We also post the VODs on youtube.com/@Somicron if you'd rather watch there. You can support the podcast by going to patreon.com/Somicron and pledging there. Also by buying merch at falconpaladin.store. So yeah, we do this every week.
It's true.
I'll be out of town next week, but I will be here on Monday, so we can do it. We can do this. This is fine.
You're out of town.
No change to the schedule for next week.
Isn't it already a Monday for you?
Yeah,
So you said we can do it Monday, but you're out of town today, next week?
except not on Monday.
Oh, except not on Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no change.
Okay.
Yeah. Won't be able to stream the Starcraft or the Expedition 33 Tuesday through Saturday, but
Where are you going?
family reunion. It's the annual thing we
right, 'cause it's in summer. I should have seen that coming. Rookie mistake.
do. Yep. That's the one that I've gone on every single year since you've known me.
Yep, it's true.
Yep.
All
Okay,
right.
Rad. All right. Thanks again. We'll catch you in a week. Until then, stay safe and healthy, and you take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.